this reflection, I'll use two artworks to help us discuss how to grow old, not disgracefully, not even gracefully, but how to grow old grace-filled. Only the creative genius of Michelangelo could create a masterpiece from a lump of marble from the Carrara mines. From this to this. Michelangelo's Pieta deserves a reflection on its own, which I'll do next week. For this week, I want you only to focus on the face of Mary, the beauty and the youthfulness of this face. But Michelangelo's work of art received criticism. People were asking, how can this be the face of a woman of a 30-year-old son? And Michelangelo's response was, indeed, the freshness and the flowering of youth, apart from being preserved in her in this natural way, may also conceivably have been given divine assistance in order to prove to the world the virginity and the perpetual purity of the mother. Thank you, Michelangelo. It's a very good insight, but I have two questions for you. What does it say about my mother and all our mothers who gave birth to us, and I presume not through a virgin birth? And the second question is, what does it say about the number of religious men and women with the vow of chastity, but who did not grow old gracefully, but rather they grew old as grumpy old men and women? And by the way, I'm sure that many people I lived with, and I live with at the moment, will put me on the list. That is why I've got a second image. This is a painting by Beavis from Melbourne. You might just ask me why this painting is just a painting of an oldish woman looking out to us. Yes, but Beavis titled this painting Mary 2020. But you might say there are no features, there are no symbols that identify this woman with Mary. And Adrian's response to this would be that there are many symbols who are specifically related to the Virgin Mary. These symbols usually point to one or more of the holy attributes of Mary. Then Adrian continues by saying, I have chosen to sidestep issues raised by Mary's holiness by concentrating on her humanity, mainly because I think that is where most people might connect with her and through her to their transcendent. In our Catholic tradition, we often concentrate and focus on the divine, in inverted commas, qualities of Mary. But by doing that, what are we doing? We put her on a pedestal, but at the same time we distance her from us. By focusing on her humanity, she can become the model and the pattern of our human existence. She can teach us how our human experiences also have the potential of the divine within them. What human experiences? For example, the experience of maternity. This would inspire every woman that has ever given birth. She would be also the model and the pattern of the nurturing love that we had to show to one another, especially those in need. She becomes the model and pattern also of unbounded compassion, of a power that protects, heals and liberates, not a power that dominates. How does Adrian Beavis explore the humanity of Mary through his painting? First, by painting her as an old woman. In this way, she is like us. We know that we grow old. We know that no kind of cream or Botox or cosmetic surgery peddled to our gullible vanities will prevent our bodies from aging. But like her, we can continue to be influencing people with our love and our care and our compassion like she did. She was the one that stayed at the foot of the cross when all the disciples ran away. She stayed with the early church until Pentecost. She continued to be a loving and encouraging presence to the church until the day that she was assumed into heaven. Secondly, is the way Adrian Beavis have painted her off-center. This to me speaks about the fact that Mary is never the center. She always points to her Son Jesus Christ. It is a reminder to me, therefore, that to live in a grace-filled way, my life must always point towards Christ. Thirdly is the gold background of the painting. Icons use gold in their background to represent the royal glory of the divine. Mary's life was a life surrounded by the divine, but it was also a life that exuded the divine in everything that she did. She becomes therefore a model and pattern of our own lives. To become aware that we are surrounded by God's loving presence, and then we have to be signs of God's loving presence to others. Finally, her eyes. Look at those eyes looking out at you. In his painting, Adrian Beavis makes the eyes the focus of the whole painting. This is a woman who has lived her life, who has experienced love and joy, but has also experienced a great deal of pain and suffering, loss of her son and tragedy of his death. But in her eyes, there is no resentment or bitterness. From her eyes still flows tenderness, care, and compassion. She is looking out to me and saying to me, Elio, for God's sake, for Christ's sake, do not become a grumpy old man. I can teach you how to live your life in a grace-filled way. This is the great message of hope that Adrian Beavis gives us with this painting of Mary. Yes, we will grow old, but our spirit can grow younger and younger by the years, until we reach the moment when we are born into our eternal youth. And next week I'll do a reflection on Michelangelo's Pieta. Thank you for watching. Bye now.